Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. Jeff, how the hell are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. Where are we at here? We're just kind of in the wrestling season of it all. Like, it's just kind of enjoying ourselves. We had Night of Champions not that long ago. We've got a main event coming up. We've got a shifting calendar. We're moving Money in the Bank. Things are happening. We added not a Sunday night main event, so there's in my favorite wrestler's hometown. So fingers crossed someone doesn't show up secretly, but we'll see what happens. But it's just in the heat of the summer, enjoying some wrestling.
Love it. And how'd you find this match? I mean, obviously we know of it, but how'd it hit your radar?
Yeah, and I've said this before. We've done a couple King of the Rings now at this point, and so this was one that June is historically back in in the 90s. June was historically the month of King of the Ring, and so just trying to look at the kind of historical significance of when certain things occurred. Like we just recorded John Cena and RVD because that was the 20th anniversary of that one, which it feels absolutely insane that it's been 20 years since that match took place. And so, but I sent that to you and you were like, damn. And I was like, I know. So I think that this is again one that it was really, Undertaker and Mankind, like there's such gigantic moments that everybody thinks about with them. Like, of course, 98 throwing him off the hell, or the cage is the moment. But this was 2 years prior to that. There wasn't a boiler room brawl. We didn't know that that was going to happen, and so a little bit younger for both of these guys in kind of finding the way, I guess. And so they might have known the chemistry they had. We may not have, but there was really something cooking for these guys back in '96.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to covering this one. This will be a fun one. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's get to the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
So, King of the Ring. Do you miss the King of the Ring pay-per-view being standalone?
Not the pay-per-view itself. We're a fan of the tournament type style around here, so I think you can do it. They're doing it the kind of the Saudi stuff kind of, but I think that as a standalone and having all those matches on one show, that takes a lot of planning, and I don't know if it would be great. Yeah,
and I like the idea of putting meaningful stuff on Raw and SmackDown. So these four-way matches and then building, I like that better than doing it all in one night. So it's given a lot of interesting things to happen on TV with stakes, as we like to say.
Absolutely.
So King of the Ring 96, June 23rd, 1996, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're in the Mecca Arena. 8,700 in attendance, buy rate of 158,000. I mean, keep in mind, a few years later, a lousy B SmackDown only show was doing 2 to 3 times that. So just not the hottest era right now. And of course, this is the month of Austin 316 is born, and then of course we're about to get the Hulk Hogan heel turn as well. So what a time to be a fan. It's one of those eras, Jeff, where it'd be really interesting to see a documentary on this era.
Yeah, you never know what'll happen.
Dark match. Body Donnas, Skip and Zip defeat the New Rockers of Marty Jannetty and Leif Cassidy. Jeff, I don't know about you, but I preferred the original Rockers over the New Rockers. What about you?
Agreed. Yeah, I think they're a little better.
Okay, Stone Cold opens the show defeating Mark Marrow in a really, really good 16-minute King of the Ring semifinal match. Jake Roberts is going to defeat Vader by DQ. in 3 minutes. God, man, it's just the Vader thing just didn't work. I mean, I don't know. We could go down a rabbit hole on that one, but it should have been more. But again, I know the pushback was he just wasn't in the shape that he was in, a few years earlier. Smoking Guns are going to retain their tag titles. They're accompanied by Sonny by defeating the Godwins. The Ultimate Warrior is going to defeat Jerry Lawler in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Then the match we're going to cover. After that, Ahmed Johnson would defeat Goldust to win the Intercontinental Championship in 15 minutes. Ahmed was one of those guys where I think if he had the right attitude, he could have been a world champion. I mean, he was really over, and he just looked so much different. I mean, the stuff that he could do, the Pearl River Plunge, I mean, the guy was over for a minute there. Finals of the King of the Ring, Steve Austin defeats Jake Roberts. Austin 316 is born. Our semi-main event, gosh, I forgot this even happened on this show. Our main event, our second to last match, but main event, Shawn Michaels is going to defeat the British Bulldog. Mr. Perfect's a special outside enforcer. There were shenanigans in that match. I really enjoyed that feud. And then there was one dark match after that, which was Triple H defeating Aldo Montoya in 3 minutes. So after the show goes off the air, we put Triple H and Aldo Montoya out there. I don't know what the reason for that would have been, but that's it, man. Storyline wise, how did we get to these two?
Yeah, and you and I have been doing this so long, I had to go back to make sure that we actually covered that Shawn Michaels match, which this is, as we record, episode 359. We covered that one almost 200 episodes ago, back in 2022. So
the Shawn Michaels one?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know we did that one. Yes, that 4.25 stars. That was a really good match.
It was
no recollection of it.
Nope, that's all right. But go back in the archives, you can find it. So, like you said, this match kind of falling in the middle of the card. And so it was interesting that WWE at this point in 96, like we were trying to get away from more of the cartoon type characters, even though Mankind is who he is. And so we know that this, like you said, is the night that Austin cuts the 316 promo. So we kind of move into that. Mankind actually, like this show taking place in the end of June, but Mankind had only debuted 2 months prior to this. Of course, Mick Foley was Mick Foley, but he debuted actually by attacking the Undertaker, showing that he's not afraid of the Undertaker, talks about the pain that he likes, enjoys, like those kind of backroom promos. I still think about some of those sometimes, like just how creepy and like, that influenced Bray Wyatt eventually. Like it was just really cool what he was doing, like punching himself, like I remember those vividly. And so but like someone who likes that darkness, where Undertaker as well too was a part of that, but kind of embracing the Undertaker's kind of how he felt too. A big point in this too is Paul Bearer actually turning on the Undertaker during this. And so you had Paul Bearer betraying the Undertaker and aligning with Mankind during all this. So it gives Mankind a little bit of it gives him a microphone, like, through the Paul Bearer manager role. But then it also adds toward, like, up till this point, like Paul Bearer and Undertaker were attached at the hip. Like, how could they, like, that wasn't even something you were talking about them breaking up. Like, you'd be like, oh, some animosity between Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, like that. Okay. Like you can see that, like Brett and Owen, you can see that. But this one, like, it was like, holy shit, like these guys aren't together. Like, he's not his manager. Like that's insanity. So such a big part of that, in dealing with that. And so this one, it was just a standard singles match. We don't even get we haven't had the boiler room match yet. And so it's not by any means the payoff to any of this type of stuff, but it is a very early insight into watching these guys work together. I'm sure that this was a little bit of a test for that, to see, hey, can these guys go together? We'll see. But yeah, we got a good match here. I'm excited to see I do not remember this one.
Likewise, I'm looking forward to it. So there's 1 hour and 40 minutes left in the show. 1 hour, 40 minutes left. We're on Netflix. I pulled up Peacock as we were getting ready for this episode. So I can't keep all this straight, but I find it eventually.
We got there.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. It's time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
Okay, so Undertaker jumps off the top rope to start. Fans are into this. The purple version of the Undertaker wailing away on Mankind. Mankind's got the traditional brown on. You know, what's funny is you think about this. When did... Okay, so like this Mankind character, this version of it, right? I mean...
Yep.
It was done by 1998, because, I mean, by King of the Ring 98, when he was thrown off the cage, he had, like, the white shirt on, right? Like the dress shirt or whatever. So, I mean, it was a different version of this. So this is like the old school, like full body Mankind. But it really, I mean, he really didn't wear this for that long if you think about it.
Yeah, and eventually lost the mask too, like, for part of this, and so yeah, interesting. But
it's funny. So when I saw we were covering this match, I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, one of the interesting stories here is Undertaker made Mankind, right? Comes over. We've seen a lot of characters that Undertaker would feud with for a match or two, and that would be it. And so the fact that Mick Foley, was able to make millions and millions and millions of dollars when he could have just as easily come in from WCW and lasted for a year or lasted for 2 years, right? Like there was no guarantee this Mankind character. Like if you asked the powers that be at the WWF at the time, take your best guess on the longevity of this Mankind character, I think in their heart of hearts, they would have thought under a year.
Yep.
Right? We're going to bring this guy in. It's a guy for Taker to do a match with. Maybe we can get this thing, to Survivor Series, but it's probably like a couple pay-per-view feud, work the house shows, and then by the end of the year, this guy could be done, right? Like there's no guarantee. So you look at it and you're like, well, gosh, this feud made Mankind, it made Mick Foley, it really cemented him for a great Hall of Fame run in the WWF. But then what I think's interesting is look at it the other way. This is 1996. So think about The Undertaker over the previous few years. Giant Gonzalez, King Kong Bundy, there were a lot of duds in there. So the Undertaker character, like there was never a guarantee that this guy was going to have a 30-year run. He did, but this was I think a pivotal moment. I think without this feud, because obviously the Undertaker lost some matches during this feud. So like, this was a really important point for The Undertaker where I think it, made his character matter more. It made it a little bit more sympathetic. I mean, it really made a big difference. And you take Mick Foley out of it, I don't know who you're putting into this slot. You're certainly not getting years and years worth of matches. And so is it crazy to think that The Undertaker during the NWO Austin 316 era could have faded away? I mean, remember, it's a silly gimmick. We have a dead man that's powered by an urn, but then on the opposite TV, we've got Hall, Nash, and Hogan in a storyline where you're like, do they work for the WWF? What's going on? So this was very important that The Undertaker had Mick Foley during this era.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's that what if, of kind of what could have been. And so, yeah, I think it's just really good. Something I sent you the other day, we said we would discuss today, is there's the rumors floating around, at least the rumors as of us recording this episode, of DDP coming back to make some TV appearances. And the first thing you said was, we need more of this.
Yeah.
Bringing back some of these people. Just what are your thoughts overall? Is it bringing them back? Is it, not a match necessarily, but what are you thinking?
So I am a big proponent of this, and for a few reasons. One, right? So strictly as a fan, are we going to get a Mick Foley elbow drop here? God, that wasn't the best one, but the elbow drop off the apron, especially in this era, was pretty badass.
Nope.
But it, caused a hip replacement. But it was pretty awesome to watch the fan. All right, so
yeah, amongst other things,
the idea of DDP and other legends being involved. So I strongly feel like this is wise, and let me give you the case as a fan, and then let me give you the business case for this. The case as a fan is I like these guys. I want to see DDP on my TV. I want to see Ric Flair on my TV. I wanted to see Hulk Hogan on my TV. Do I want them wrestling matches? No. I mean, DDP probably could, but I don't need to see Flair taking bumps. But it's like that thing they did with Batista. Remember when he was like dragging Flair? Like that was a great way to use him. He didn't get hurt, but like it was like, holy shit. Yep. Like, wow. Okay. So I love that. And I think it adds something. One of the challenges I had with WrestleMania this year is 0 legends. You could say John Cena, but I don't consider him a legend per se. He just finished up, but I like when these guys are included. Okay. So Undertaker involvement, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, whoever it is, I like it. I like that Mick Foley's in the mix in AEW. It'll make me watch. Okay? Like I will watch clips or things that AEW does if they get Mick Foley involved in a meaningful way doing interesting things, which leads into the business case. So we have go to a WrestleMania, go to a PLE. You have kids, but then you have the parents, and the parents grew up watching DDP. The parents grew up watching Mick Foley. The parents grew up watching The Undertaker. They want to see this stuff. So it's going to bring more people in and interest more people if you have those legends. So I think there's a business case for it. I just think it's cool as a fan. By the way, nasty backdrop onto a chair on the cement. This is a pretty brutal match here.
Good, though.
It's excellent. What do you think about the DDP thing?
I think DDP alone amongst wrestlers is, and you and I say this a lot of times too, he has saved the lives of how many wrestlers at this point. Like, it's hard to overlook that. And I think his respect to take care of guys, especially the older guys, is like admirable. Absolutely. And so I think that, hey, maybe he's looking to do, not looking to do the next thing may not be the right way to look at it, but he's definitely looking to, hey, the DDPY stuff is going great. I don't know what the kind of rehab house looks like right now, but he's doing a lot of things. And I think that it might just be a sense of hey, this is, like you said, I think that this is the smartest way to use some of these guys. It's not, oh my gosh, I need to see DDP get back out there so that we can, see him have another match. I'm not looking to see him have another match. That's not what I want. That's not what I want to see. I want to see him though, because I do think he is who he is. And so I think that that's a big part of it of, hey, how do you bring these guys back in a safe way? If they want to be involved, they have the connections, let's find a way to make it happen. And I think that's what happened with Mankind or Mick Foley, is he really wanted to be back. He really wanted to be involved in some way, and see what happens. And I think that that's just it's really cool. It's something that it makes sense. Like, I could see him wanting to get physical, because we've heard those rumors for a long time now of him wanting to have one last go. I don't need to see that. I think that almost diminishes what some of these guys do. Like, you don't want that, the Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Kane, Triple H kind of Saudi Arabia to happen. And you end up getting these guys that, like, it just hurts to watch them. Like, your heart hurts, because that's just not who it's not who you wanted to see. It's not who how you wanted that to play out. Like, it just hurts. And so I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how they use more of these guys. That there's a lot of these guys that I think that would be really easy to incorporate them and find a way to make it happen.
I had a theory pop into my head this morning that I'll share with you. I think Mick Foley may have embellished a little bit on his reason for leaving WWE, because he really wanted to sign with AEW. And I've listened to every podcast he's done. And look, I totally respect anyone's political views or passion for the issues and reasons for doing things. So I never fault anyone for feeling a certain way or doing something based on, I no issue at all with that. That being said, I listened to his explanation and I'm like, I don't know if that necessarily adds up. Like, if he's so passionate about it, like, why now? Like, right? Like, I mean, this has been going on for 10 years now. Like, all of this, right? Like, the McMahons tied in with Trump, and like, this is not new, and Triple H has been married to Steph the whole time. And, so it's like, none of this is really new. So why now? And I haven't really heard a good explanation as to why now, other than, I just finally hit my breaking point. Well, it's odd that you randomly hit your breaking point at the time where you lost a bunch of weight and probably want to take some bumps or get back in the ring, and probably want to do that either in a tag match or one-on-one with MJF. And you immediately ended up in AEW. So I just feel like he realized, look, Triple H is not going to put me in the ring at WrestleMania. Probably wouldn't even clear me medically. Don't really have a great relationship with them. So let me send out some feelers to Tony Khan. Oh, Tony said he'd pay me, $1.5 million a year to do some commentary. And I had an open invite to wrestle with whoever I want, whenever I want. So let me figure out a way to look like a good guy, get out of my WWE deal, and make this transition. I just don't believe that the two things are not related. Just my personal feeling on it. Because again, I listened to all the podcasts and I'm like, I just don't think that one thing happened and then the other magically coincidentally happened. Oh, Mankind, like a little bit of a Braun Breaker there. He runs like halfway around the ring to do the knee to the Undertaker and the steel steps. It's a very good match. And remember, by the way, we weren't seeing a lot of matches like this in 1996.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's they're on the outside a little bit now. Yeah, he kind of suplexes him out there. Yeah, good stuff though so far.
This is a great no DQ match. That's not a no DQ match.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. This is a normal Tuesday for these guys, right?
And this is where we get another elbow drop here. He's really far away.
Ooh, no.
Oh,
that hurt.
Yep. Blocks the elbow of the steel chair. To me, this match is the ECW influence in wrestling, right? You can't tell me that they didn't say, hey, we need to up our game a little bit. And remember, at this point, we know Hall and Nash are in WCW. We know something big's going to happen. course, we didn't know how big, but we knew it was going to be big.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you saw recently too. It was Teddy Long.
Yes,
was on TMZ actually and was interviewed, and I don't know if you saw the clip where he said WWE needs to bring back Vince to get eyes on the product again. I know he's not alone feeling that way, and we know that Vince has his own kind of issues going on legally and just kind of everything that's played out. But I'll ask the question again this week because I feel like it's been a while since we've asked it. Like, are we going to see him back at some point?
Couple thoughts on this. The easy answer is never say never, because that's what you say in wrestling. Before Vince McMahon passes away, there has to be something. Is it a storyline? Mm-hmm. Is it strictly behind the scenes? Is it a Hall of Fame induction? It's something. And even reading between the lines a little bit, between comments Triple H has made and some of the things Stephanie said on her podcast, I just feel the family is at a place where they don't want him to die without there being some sort of a reconciliation. And I don't know if it's a forgiveness. I don't know if it's a, hey, we don't forgive you, or we forgive you, but we don't forget. Like, I feel like there has been a thawing out of things with Steph and with Triple H. And I'd imagine that that's probably the biggest hurdle, right? I think TKO is okay with him doing something. That would be my guess. They just don't seem to be, super strict on these things, right? Like, I think they're going to do whatever's best for business, whatever, they want, and they don't necessarily care about public sentiment being 100%, right? So I don't know, but I think it's possible. Then it becomes, well, what is it? They do not need Vince McMahon. Okay. And that's where I some of these things I see where it's like, oh, they need to create new stars, or they need younger people, or they need Vince McMahon. They need. Jeff, they don't need anything. Okay. They've got billions of dollars of TV contracts. Nope. They've got sold out buildings. They're doing 2-night SummerSlam, 2-night WrestleMania. They don't need anything. Now, is that guaranteed to last forever? Of course not. But I don't think they need anything. All right. And I feel pretty strongly about that. Now, that being said, is there a scenario? I've always said the biggest risk with the highest upside is bringing him back in a storyline capacity. Okay. Now, why would you bring Vince McMahon on TV in a storyline capacity? Well, because he's the biggest heel, the best heel in the history of professional wrestling. Okay. So we have the opportunity to potentially bring back the biggest heel in professional wrestling history at a time where he would get a insane reaction. Some would cheer, many would boo.
Yeah.
A lot of people would talk about it online. It would put eyeballs on there. Now, it's a risk, Jeff, because it could backfire. It could be cringe. It could be terrible. It could lead to a ton of bad PR. But man, there is a massive swing to be said. How does this end up? Hall of Fame induction in Saudi Arabia? Maybe. I don't know. What are your feelings on it?
Yeah, I think that.
Oh, and by the way,
never say never. Like, I think that's.
By the way, you can hear the piano playing. That was the outro song to Mankind. He wins the match. They're calling it a TKO. Paul Bearer, maybe accidentally, maybe on purpose, hits Undertaker with the urn. So,
yeah.
But okay. So and Mankind's now chasing Paul Bearer out. But I mean, how often does the Undertaker lose? So keep in mind, this is the first match between these two, and the Undertaker loses. Very, very rare sight, but he's up on his own. He's chasing Mankind out. Finish the Vince thought before we head out.
Yeah, so to put a bow on it, like you said, never say never. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that you have to wrestling fans are a weird bunch. And so I would imagine right now, if you asked me today, I would imagine that a lot of people are disconnected from everything that's happening, in the courts and all that other stuff. And for him to come back would be one of the largest pops ever.
Yeah.
And so, and because wrestling, like we're weird, we are a weird bunch of people. And so, I just can't see it where, like you said, whether it's before he dies or at some point, you just got to walk him out once and that's it. And so, who knows?
I mean, think of the reaction, both the live audience as well as online and everything that follows, if you end night 2 of SummerSlam with Vince McMahon coming out.
Right.
And we don't know why he's there, but he comes out. I mean, or you do it at Saturday night's main event in the Garden. I mean, I don't think all this stuff will be cleared up in time, but it's just, it's interesting. And I will, one other thought I'll give you, and I just want your thoughts on this. I feel like, you see things online, and this happens in politics, it happens in pop culture as well. Most people, the vast majority of people, have little to no idea what happened or is happening in the courts, and they don't care. So there's like a vocal minority that, well, he was in a lawsuit, he may have done, and it's not a matter of whether it's not a matter of like how you personally feel. It's the fact that the vast majority of the public doesn't care. It just doesn't matter to them. And that's why you see people sometimes, well, this politician said this. Yeah, but 95% of people out there don't obsess over the news and don't care. And I feel like it's the same with Vince, where most people just don't care. If he came back, they'd go crazy and they'd be thrilled to have him. And it doesn't mean that they're accepting or brushing under the rug the things he did. They just don't know, and they don't really care.
Right. Yeah. And that's really what it boils down to. And he's still Vince to everybody. So many people. So yeah.
Yep. Okay. Let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
What'd you think?
Very good. Like
very,
I said,
very
it was
good.
the first of very many. And so, but definitely one to kind of go back and see how these guys, like, they worked. They knew what they were doing when they were out there. And so I thought this is where we take off. Like, we end up with the Boiler Room Brawl at SummerSlam just a couple months later. You have Paul Bearer betraying Undertaker again after, the little weird what's happening in this episode or this show, and kind of seeing it that way. And so it grows into 97, 98. Like, this is just it's one of the chapter 1 of a multi-year rivalry. This is page 1 of a multi-year rivalry. Like, that's what it boils down to. And so, and these characters only became better because of each other. And so that's really what had happened. So, but the rivalry continued. We know that happened for a while. PWI 1996, Taker was 19, Mankind, Mick Foley was 45. Not providing Meltzer, we know that it didn't score this one super high on the card, and I'll pull that up real quick while we're doing this. But where are you going to score this one? And he gave this one 3.25.
So I'll put this at a 7. I thought the match was really good, really entertaining. And what I love about it is Undertaker loses, which rarely happens. We know the feud that we're getting. This is very new and very fresh. It's a new character. It's a legitimate threat to The Undertaker. It's something we've never seen before. It's very unique. Foley style. I mean, it sucks that he beat himself up this bad, but his style is just so different and so good. I love this. I mean, I'm saying 7, but like, I talked myself into a 7.5. Very, very good stuff. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going with just the 7, but I think that it, like you said, there's no shame in giving this that other half point either. And so I think that it was really good. Like, it really set up the future of, who these two were going to be.
Okay. Well, we both like this one. What's next for us?
Is that the faint chant of a Goldberg? Goldberg?
Well, you can't stand Goldberg, but you picked his biggest moment in his career. So why'd you do this to yourself?
I'm just a glutton for punishment at this point. Yeah, it's part of it was the announcement of Atlanta for the one show, and then just the timing of this one, of when it originally occurred. We're coming up on an anniversary on this one, about almost 28 years. Wow. And so, I think that's just one that just crazy. Like while I make no secret of how I feel about Goldberg, it is still one that, oddly enough, we hadn't covered that we have to talk about.
Okay. Cool. I'm excited to cover this one. All right. We appreciate everyone listening. We'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Payoff.